r/showerthoughts. Shodster says, zombies having extra durability makes no sense. Tilatiel Redifapt says, nothing about zombies makes sense. Adenosine triphosphate is the cellular energy source. It is necessary for muscular contraction, nerve impulse propagation, and other vital processes that are necessary for any movement at all. In humans, its generation is almost entirely an aerobic process. Without flowing, oxygenated blood, there's no explanation for muscular movement. And yet they are frequently depicted with almost superhuman strength. The Colonel Clink says, seeing as breathing is an autonomic process, it would technically and actually be the lack of water that would kill most intact zombies very quickly. As the lack of water would basically stop conventional ATP production, and of course turn off the kidneys and poison itself and everything else. Because all zombies would be walking, or even running, if a rage zombie around constantly, their need for water would skyrocket. Of course, had they lost most of their blood, it would be blood loss plain and simple. That would almost immediately stall vital organ perfusion, and then muscles contraction etc. Tilatiel Redifapt says, that's the thing. The concept of animation without life breaks all of the sciences. Biology, chemistry, physics. None of it works. A zombie apocalypse necessitates magic. Which is why some zombie movies don't play the dead card at all. I kind of like 28 Days Later in that regard. The rage virus at least makes an attempt at plausibility. And the infected can in fact die of starvation. SWAT officer says, it's not that they are more durable, it's that they don't care when you break them. Blow holes in them, cut them, it doesn't matter, they'll keep coming. Simajlu the Crusader says, like the laughing dead from the inheritance cycle. Skyrim Devakine says, one of the most horrifying scenes and portrayals of not caring about your fate I've ever seen. Giggling, laughing, yet maimed and bleeding, and seeking to tear our Orin's heart. Great portrayal. Jebastreak 666 says, zombies on the whole make very little sense. They would rapidly decompose. Literally after about 1 year or so, they would mostly just be chomping sets of teeth in a puddle of goo. Not real hard to avoid. r/showerthoughts. Nichadaluk says, feeling not good enough is often what fuels people to become great. Skinneed says, feeling not good enough is what fuels me to do drugs. Hughes 2814 says, I'm sorry I laughed so hard I'm such a bad person. Kopfballer says, it can have different effects on different people. To some it may be a motivation to improve and become great, for others it may be something that is actually holding them back and prevents them from becoming great. But one thing is for sure, it makes them unhappy. Znokjza says, the desire to be great because you feel not good enough is often what fuels people to become monsters. Individual Bell 9776 says, it's also an easy path to drugs or suicide, so maybe we shouldn't condone hardship wholesale. Klim Clemthickelmanning says, nah, just makes me feel like shit in every circumstance where I'm not good enough. Captain Bedbud says, or stop entirely, motivation is weird. Zolrang says, this is true, but it doesn't lead to happiness. Crow 553R says, imposter syndrome has entered the chat. OA97Z says, actually no. If one loves doing something, then it becomes a play that one will do often. The greatness part comes as a side effect of this. Laura029 says, no, I just smoke that feeling away. Ham Rainbow Tickler, Ren1 says, well, yeah I know, feelin' like you ain't cutting it sometimes, well, that's what kinda pushes folks to really step up their game and become something truly great, yeah feel me? Dude named Chris says, nah, it fuels me to do self-destructive activities and shut myself off from everyone else. Schamberg says, this also can cause spirals. Either of depression, personal traits, or indifference. r/showerthoughts. Shinobi Sadist says, people born at the end of WW2 were only 32 years old when the first Star Wars movie was released. Ru says, I often find it useful to put history on a scale like that. For example, I was born 93 years after the US Civil War ended, which means that my relationship to it is roughly the same as my granddaughter's relationship to WWI. I was just a little older when the fall of Saigon happened than my granddaughter was when the US abandoned Afghanistan. Turned the other way around, my grandfather was about the same age when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor as I was when terrorists attacked the World Trade Center. I feel more connected to people of other generations, especially my ancestors, when I can put similar events into the context of their lives. Wild Vodka says, wow, such a deep thought. Shinobi Sadist says, my two brain cells really smashed together for this one. Coffee Achiever Guy says, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Henry Winkler, born 1945, so he was 32 years old, played the Fonz in 1977, and he was playing like a 20-year-old, but he was pretty spry. Debbie Harry from Blondie was born 1945, and she was hitting her stride. These were young people. These people were younger than a lot of 60s classic rock stars. Younger than the Beatles. Younger than Roger Waters by about 2 years. About the same age as The Who and Led Zeppelin. Does it make sense that Goldie Hawn, born in 45, was age 32 when Star Wars came out? I dunno, her career started 10 years earlier, so she was famous for a while. So, she seemed older. Pete Townshend was born in 45. His career was like 13 years in. He seemed older. Livingfan 922 says, yes, that is how aging works. Necrolls for Life says, r/Barbera alters for scale. Infinity Monk says, like what are you trying to establish here? King Pizzapop says, okay. What's the point of this? Oripash says, and at the end of their 20s, if they were hired into the movie's production and involved at the time that production started. Mind-boggling, connecting the events referenced in Saving Private Ryan to piecing Tatooine together in the real world. Toonlank7 says, people born in 2000 were only 5 when Revenge of the Sith came out. It's almost as if numbers go up as you age. r/Showerthoughts. Vex Vertigo says, the makers of kitchen appliances really overestimate how much people want to hear loud beeping. Orcus 424 says, for some it's not the volume, but the notes they choose are annoying. When my air fryer beeps it is fine. When my microwave beeps I want to search online for a new microwave. Starving to Death says, this information will be useful for Skynet. On a Little World says, the delightful little tune my washer makes when it's done is actually quite nice. But the microwave? Yeah, nobody got time for that hootin' and hollerin'. Joe 402 says, counterpoint, the makers of kitchen appliances accurately estimate how many people want to know when their food is ready / not burn down their house / not spoil everything in the fridge. Horsetooth McG says, the jaunty fancy princey little jingle, a tune, not just beeping, that my dishwasher makes when it's finished scares the shit out of me every time. Super Snow says, my dishwasher beeps when it's done. My microwave beeps when it's done. My washer and dryer both beep uncontrollably when done. I left my freezer door ajar the other day and ice cream melted everywhere. The freezer didn't say shit. The one device you would want to make a noise was like Marcel Marceau. Lucha G says. That's the entire point, though. It's trying to get you to stop the beeping. Pissed Off Pup says. I agree. So annoying. Freak17 says. My housemate uses the share house's microwave a lot, yet also forgets how long they have left it going, so it keeps repeating the beeping tune on a 30-second loop. Drives me mad to be awoken by it late at night. Jillflover247 says. My fridge beeps after about 10 seconds of being open. Incredibly annoying and absolutely futile. Like I don't know the fridge is open. But Didier21 says. You really underestimate how much people actually pay attention to what they are doing. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.